Finding Frankie is, in my opinion, the best Mascot horror game of 2024. I first found out about the game when browsing YouTube. I honestly thought it was going to be another Poppy Playtime clone, since they announced their game right when all the Poppy clones and Garn Abandoned were taking the Mascot horror genre in 2023. And to be honest, it wasn't a great year for Mascot horror. I did see the first teaser trailer and it grabbed my interest, and here we are. I thought the game was a big success. In this video, I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions on the game, and maybe spout some criticisms along the way. But I don't think there will be many, since this game was really good. The game starts out with a cutscene of the player getting an invitation to a huge parkour race for $5 million, which show is literally called Finding Frankie. You end up inside a dark box, which I assume they just kidnapped you and placed you inside the dark room while you were just unconscious. The doors open and you see 4 other contestants, which you don't get to make friends with them because the evil Frankie just kills you right in a second. In my opinion, this is a really good intro. It pretty much starts out as a regular game show, and out of nowhere, evil Frankie just pops out of nowhere reminding you that you're playing a horror game. So right after that incident happens, the intercom guy, who everyone was comparing to Kane from the Amazing Digital Circus, becomes super unserious about what just happened and pretends it's all part of the show. Alright, I gotta remember where everything was. 1, 2... Which is why I like about this character. He's so unserious about what happens and makes him an enjoyable character. In the lobby, in order to proceed, you need to flip some breaker switches, which is the only puzzle that appears in the entire game. Now, that's not really an issue with me since the game is more parkour focused and it's meant to be a fast-paced game, not a puzzle game. If this was a puzzle game, then I would recommend that they add more puzzles, but it's not. For a game like Finding Frankie, I'm fine with there being only one puzzle. Once you exit the lobby, you enter the first parkour obstacle, which takes some time to learn, but the more you play, the more you get used to the controls of the parkour mechanics. You now enter the second floor of Frankie's Parkour Palace, and the intercom guy mentions that Henry is not in there. He's not even concerned at all. Even though he knows that Henry is supposed to be in that area, he just finds a way to make it all part of the show, which is amazing. It's mysteriously locked.
What an unfortunate inconvenience. But we'll figure something out.
You do the break a puzzle again and you enter the vents. A detail that I thought was really cool in this section is that when you encounter evil Frankie in the vents, he actually drops a serpent plane from his mouth, which I honestly thought was really cool and disgusting at the same time. I did always think it was a glove when I first saw it. So after events and you do another puzzle, a chase sequence happens with evil Frankie, which is better than the recent Poppy Playtime chases you encounter. No hate for Poppy chases though, even though I thought they were pretty alright. But what makes this chase sequence so unique is that it pressures you to do a puzzle in the middle of it, which I think is such a genius idea, in which all chase sequences did something similar to this one. Not to mention, they added some obstacles you need to get past, making the chase sequence even more intense. After the chase sequence happens, you enter the food court, which intercom guy is aware isn't supposed to happen, but he views it as a good way, which is honestly thought was hilarious. Alright, so this is the
That sure was a close one. I apologize. That was poorly planned on my part, but it was certainly entertaining. You know what? This is actually a good thing.
This is actually, I like how he just makes that a good thing. He's like, oh dude, wait, people are entertained? Oh wait, this is a good thing. Past the food court is Deputy Ducks. No, really, that's actually what the course is called. It's a very simple parkour course with a few inspirations from Fall Guys. You do need to get past it to grab Deputy Duck himself, which he is revealed to be a little device. I like how Deputy Duck is very uncomfortable with you until you throw him against the wall. That was a pretty silly way for the player and Deputy Duck to get along. He is pretty useful in the section we go towards, which is easily the scariest part in the game, since you find Henry Hotline and his footsteps are very loud. He's not even running! He's that loud! Why? Which I honestly prefer and think this is a good thing, since it makes you think that he's right on you, even if he isn't running that fast at all. I hope they don't change this. Once you scam call him 6 times, Henry will start chasing you, and this banger track will start playing. Bye-bye. Now this chase sequence isn't bad. There are a few cool things that happen, like evil Frankie appearing for a split second, but however, there's a section of the chase which is very dark. I honestly think this could be an issue, since you could turn around and go the wrong direction, or maybe hit a wall. I saw a glow stick in that room. I think the room could use a few more to guide the player better in the direction where they need to go. So once you complete the chase, you enter the crash course, which is Block Party from Fall Guys. Love how challenging this segment is, even if it only lasts like about a minute. While others could say this segment is pointless, you cannot deny that it does get faster as the timer goes down. I'm glad they added this part, since the next part is kinda slow, which are utility tunnels. Now the goal in that section is that you need to find a way into Frankie's Frosted Peak, which can take a while. There is no order to how to achieve this objective, which thank God. I can choose to do the fun part first, which is opening the door to the opposite end of the path you came through and encountering Henry Hotline again, right after evil Frankie ripped him apart. He does give you a damaged deputy duck again, which I don't think people are aware, but he can be used to discover secrets you probably didn't know existed. Henry does answer the phone, which caused him to explode, and a phone message which they didn't really add, but he did, which is really hilarious.
Hello?
Okay. Hello?
No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
I just noticed that no one's available to take your call. Please leave a message. After that, we meet the real Frankie, who he reveals to be Intercom guy for the entire time. I love his character design so much since he can make expressions without even making them in the first place. In the part where he is annoyed at the news broadcast, even though he isn't really showing it, that expression on his face just really fits his character.
Authorities have discovered 3 dead bodies on the premises of Frankie's Parkour Palace, who seem to be 3 of the 4 unfortunate contestants chosen to participate in the company's last game show before bankruptcy.
Even if you
One
only like that
contestant
one
seems to still
smile,
be
like
on the
you can
premises
literally
and
like see the
potentially
expression on
alive.
his face. So we meet Frankie, who opens the door to the sewers, which is the slowest part of the entire game, but has a very cool part in the game, which is when evil Frankie's hand lowers down and slowly moves around. After we exit the sewers, we can now go through the 2 elevators, which it doesn't matter which one you go first. I go to the trampoline part first, since the part is much more fun. You're able to jump through hoops and catch these little guys called noobs. The entire reason for their existence is to blow up. Yep, that is why they exist. It's to blow up. And to also look very adorable. The other section is the water park, and yes, you can slide down a slide, not all of them. I'm glad the devs allowed you to do this in the first place. The water park area is very simple to complete. You just complete the breaker puzzle again. And at the end, there's 2 switches, which I thought you need to pull both of them down, but you'll need to pull one, which is a relief. Since the second one would require you to avoid saws, I'm glad you only need to collect 1. So after collecting both keys and going for the Toy Story 3 landfill section, you can now enter Frankie Frost's Peak, which is the last obstacle course in the game. Frankie's Frost's Peak is a reference to one of my favorite Fall Guys levels, Slime Climb. You can tell I really enjoyed this part since Slime Climb was such a fun level in Fall Guys, which meant I was going to enjoy this one as well. Another thing I really liked about this part was the game tricks you into thinking that you're done, introduces you to another obstacle course, which is much more difficult than the Frosted Peak you just completed. At last, we enter my favorite part of the entire game, Hexagon Havoc, which I viewed as the better and more balanced Hexagon. I honestly thought this was one of the coolest boss encounters I even came across, especially while I was playing a banger track in the background. Oh my god! This is a banger track, holy crap! Not to mention, I never had a problem with this difficulty. I found a strat that worked for me. The section lasts for like about 2 minutes, and no, 2 minutes is not a long time. It's just the right amount of time to get me through 4 layers of hexagons and pull the levers at the bottom. After beating Hexagon Havoc, the most beautiful cutscene plays, where evil Frankie falls down to the Toy Story 3 landfill, along with the noobs getting excited to get burned alive. The player does survive, since he or she does go to see Frankie again to grab his or her prize. The game ends with Frankie giving you the 5 million, but also reveals that he is keeping you for the next season.
But stars don't just leave after a season.
This is easily probably the best horror game of 2024, like hands down. I don't think you can top this. I honestly love this ending since the devs are aware that the game was pretty short and they seem to be setting up a potential sequel, which Finding Frankie really needs since there's so much potential in this game to set up a new Mascot horror franchise. And there's also questions to be answered. So for my final review, Finding Frankie is an amazing, fast-paced, comedic Mascot horror game with memorable characters, funny moments, while reminding people that you are playing a horror game. The animations are fantastic, and the devs were not afraid to make the environments as colorful as they needed to be, since, according to Frankie, see how
PG-rated adventure
I honestly recommend this game to anyone who enjoys horror and fast-paced games and also platformers. My only two criticisms for the game is that the new game button should be in the menu, not in the settings, since most people don't look in the settings first when they start a new game. My second criticism is the price. I feel like the price could be lowered down $5 since the game is pretty short for it to be $15. But overall, in the end, it is worth it if you like replaying the game like me. That is my entire review of Finding Frankie, and that is it. Bye.